surgery on Wednesday and is still recuperating. To give you a little background on how all this started, recently, a week or 2 or 3 ago, he had a colonoscopy. And the gastroenterologist found something, you know, in the colon that was like a blockage or something like that, and he said, we've got to go in and get this repaired before it can get worse and, you know, do a lot of damage. So on Wednesday he had a bowel resection, and here's some. I want to come in now. Mark.
Oh, okay.
Come up, please come up.
We don't invite you in.
I think I knew you.
Oh, come on up.
I'm good.
Okay. Did you want any copy there?
Oh, no, thank you.
But anyway,
Need some help? Anybody knows how to connect all of this?
I'll try, but.
oh,
I know. You know what?
Tim is not here today, and but I suspect he'll be back in usual form a month from now.
Yes, come.
So, Miss or Mrs. or is this your first time here or?
No, sir. I've been here a few times.
She was at the Comfort Inn location.
Okay.
See, that's the problem. Unless we put it over there.
This is power.
But anyway, for those of you that are relatively new and don't know an awful lot about the church, this is called the North Texas Church of Freethought. And essentially it is a community of people that no longer believe and subscribe to traditional Judeo-Christian religion, and are generally either atheists, agnostics, or maybe a few deists. I don't know if any deists or not. But anyway, I think most people really totally misunderstand what atheism is. Atheism really, an atheist is really, technically speaking, a non-theist.
A non-what?
A non-theist.
Non-theist.
Someone that does not believe in a theistic God. Now, a theistic God is one, is like, you know, the old man up in heaven, who you have a personal relationship and he knows what's going on, and you can pray to him and he'll help solve your problems and fix this and fix that. In other words, the theistic God is actively involved in life and creation. And people are, theoretically speaking, have a relationship with him, and you can pray to him and all that. Most people here,
Or her.
Most people here, you know, don't subscribe to that, don't believe it. So, as I say, we're a community of, normally speaking, about 40 or 50 people together here on the first Sunday of every month, and then on the Sundays, a bunch of us go to what's called Salon, and Salon meets at the Embassy Suites over in Grapevine, and people just come on the other Sunday morning and sit around tables like this and have coffee and just chat and have some marvelous conversations and some really good communal time together. And I'd say about 8 to 12 people come to the salon most every week. So today we're going to do a couple of things. Merlin, where is? Oh, he's coming. Merlin is going to be up next, and I'll just let him tell you what he's going to do. And he'll have it for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we're able, we'll do the moment of silence. We able to do that now? We'll find out.
They're working on it.
But
I
anyway,
think we could do it now, if we can show.
but anyway, the first order of business is Mark Burton, take it over.
Speaking of gods, and we were, for your information, the Egyptians from about 33 down to 30 BCE, when Cleopatra committed suicide, they had 95 gods. The Greeks, as you probably know, had 9 gods. And so when people ask me, do I believe in God, I ask them which God they want to believe in. That sort of slows them down, and then they say, I believe that man created God, not God created man. And that sort of stops them dead. Okay, that was just an aside. I'd like to cover something a little different. 10 rules for being human. I know this is a repeat for John. He probably remembered that from 4 years ago when we covered this, but anyway. Rule number 1, you will receive a body. You may like it or hate it, but it will be yours for the duration. How you take care of it, or fail to take care of it, can make an enormous difference in your quality of life. Number 2, we will learn lessons. You are enrolled in a full-time, informal school called life. Each day you will be presented with opportunities to learn what you need to know. A lesson will be presented completely different from those that you think you will need. There are no mistakes, number 3, only lessons. Growth is a process of trial and error, experimentation. You can learn as much from failure as you can from success, maybe more. You haven't, maybe don't remember, but in my particular life, I had to learn from my father what I didn't want to do in life, because he was doing things wrong. Hindsight tells me that. At the time, I didn't know that. It was very hard to get over that hump, to learn from the negative input rather than the positive input. A lesson is repeated until it is learned. A lesson will be presented to you in various forms until you have learned it. When you have learned it, as evidenced by a change in your attitude or ultimately a change in your behavior, you can then go on to the next lesson. Learning lessons does not end. There is no stage in life that does not contain some lessons. As long as you live, there will be something more to learn. There is no better there than here. When your there has become here, you will simply discover another there. That will again look better than here. Don't be fooled by believing that the unattainable is better than what you have. Others are merely mirrors of yourself. You cannot love or hate something in another person unless it reflects something you love or hate in yourself. What you make of your life is up to you. You have all the tools and resources you need. What you create with those tools and resources is up to you. Remember that through desire, goal setting, and unflagging effort, you can have anything you want. Persistence is the key in life. The answers lie inside you. The solutions of all life's problems lie within your grasp. All you need to do is ask, look, and listen, and learn. You'll probably forget all this. Unless you consistently stay focused on the goals you have set for yourself, everything you just heard will probably be forgotten. I have a couple more things to cover. This is just is sort of cute. We don't, we have a missed crowd. Well, I'll come up with some different words. Success, what is success? Have you read Ralph Waldo Emerson? His idea of success. I'll give you two successes. One is this, and then I'll give you Ralph Waldo Emerson's. At age 4, success is not peeing in your pants. At age 12, success is having friends. At age 16, success is having a driver's license. At age 20, success is having a lot of love. At age 35, success is having a good occupation. At 50, success is having a lot of money. At age 65, success is having some friends left. You'll come across this, what we will. Oh, sure. At age 75, success is having a lot of admiration from another person, significant other. At age 85, success is not peeing in your pants. you know I was going there.
Yeah. Cycle. Wait, that wasn't Emerson.
Pardon me?
Was that wasn't, you said?
Ralph Waldo Emerson said, success is the ability to laugh often, to love and be loved, to receive the admiration of your peers, and to live each day so that at least one other person is better off because you're alive. I think that's pretty sobering. And he did that in the 1800s. Okay, just about another 5 minutes of your attention. I appreciate your patience. Voltaire believed that prayer and miracles violated the natural order of things and therefore did not work. Rousseau came up with an idea that he believed that children were tabula rasa, blank slates, Latin. He said kids should be understood as individuals and they need caring, not strict and rigid environments from their parents and their teachers. That's all I got. Thank you.
Really insightful.
Okay, it's now time for a moment of science, but Kit has stepped out for a minute, so I guess we'll postpone that, and I'll have a few things to say, and then we've got about 45 minutes. As many of you know, I'm a former Episcopal priest, and so I have been involved in church-like things and issues and all of that for most of my adult life. And I consider both religion and church to be fascinating things to think about and to explore and discover. How many of you, I was going to ask everybody to raise their hand, how many of you would say that you're religious?
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
Can you give a definition? So
Well, I'm going to. So one or two people have kind of raised their hand and, I'm religious. So, I mean, some of us consider ourselves to be religious. And I want to share with you in a minute what I really think religion is. In my early 20s, having been a philosophy major in college, I got a job heading up a department in the marketing division of a huge multi-state bank. And I had never in my life taken a course in marketing, and I knew absolutely nothing about it. So I was sent off to New York City to some American Management Association training in marketing. And here, 45 or 50 years later, I will never forget the key things that I learned there. And that is the difference between good and bad marketing. Bad marketing, which a lot of people do, is when you have a product or a service or a way of life or a school of thought that you believe in, and you want to get other people to buy it or to buy into it. So what you do is you go out and try to manipulate the marketplace, manipulate the community in buying your product, service, or school of thought, whether they have any need for it, whether they want it, or whether they have any interest in it at all. Now, the definition of good marketing was very different. Good marketing said you don't start out with a product or a service or necessarily a school of thought that you're trying to sell. You start out with, you go out into the marketplace. You go out into the marketplace, you go out into the community, and you do your market research. You do your research. And you find out what the community's needs are, what their wants are, what their issues are. And then you go back to your lab and you try to create a product or a service or a school of thought that addresses the very real and legitimate needs and wants and interests that people have. And that made a huge amount of sense to me back then. And it still does today. Now, I have back in the late 1960s and early 1970s, when I was finishing college and getting ready to go to, the theological seminary, there was a real war being raged in this country in the theological community about what theological education ought to be, about what it ought to be like. And there were two major schools of thought. Some thought that seminaries ought to be graduate schools of religion. And the other camp, which was far larger, thought, no, they're not supposed to be graduate schools of religion. They're supposed to be, seminaries where you have a viewpoint, a school of thought, and you try to, indoctrinate the students in that, teach them, how to go out in the marketplace and sell it, and get, and really manipulate other people into buying it. So, in a graduate school of religion, and I happened to go to a graduate school of religion as opposed to a seminary, in a graduate school of religion, you were supposed to go out and really search for and try to discover truth, wherever the journey might take you. I used to always think you learn how to be a safari runner, how to take people out on safari and explore and investigate and learn and trying to develop a worldview around that. Whereas the other side, the theological seminary, was more like what I call going to sales school forward. The young minister would go to his denomination's theological seminary, and they would teach him how to manipulate the marketplace and to try and to accept and buy into their viewpoint, their school of thought. Now, I've been doing an awful lot of studying lately in neuroscience and related fields and topics. And I just finished a course 2 or 3 weeks ago on learning how to learn. And it appears that most of us go about that in entirely the wrong way. In a way or in ways that really do not work. And I've started another course, I did these things online. I've started another course on how to effectively teach. And I just started it in the last day or two, so I don't really know that much yet, but about how to effectively teach. And they say that the vast majority of teachers, and I want to say preachers and ministers, totally get it wrong. Most college professors, for instance, use the lecture method. And they say that flat doesn't work. that the people have an attention span of probably a maximum of about 20 minutes. And you can't, we're coming up on that now. And you can't really get them to stay plugged in, stay involved, and connected with what you're talking about for more than 15 or 20 minutes without a break of some sort. And of course, but they say that the lecture method is all wrong. You should not lecture. Another thing that they say is all wrong, I haven't gotten to it yet, probably, but I've seen the headlines. They say that PowerPoint presentations and slides are all wrong. They don't help with learning. They get in the way of learning. And this book on how to teach college says that teachers need to learn from two groups. They need to learn from marketing experts, and they need to learn from elementary school teachers. Those two groups of people typically know how to successfully and effectively connect with people and engage people. And I think that most of the time in schools and in churches and groups like this, that we do a lousy job. That we get up and we make speeches, we lecture, we have PowerPoint presentations and all that, but do we really connect with people? Do we really engage people? You know, and the research indicates that in most cases we do not. So one thing I was thinking about as I was trying to decide what I might talk about today was, you know, why in the world are we all here? Last month I read in Tim's newsletter, which came out Saturday morning, he said that, you know, last month this group celebrated its 24th anniversary of its founding back in the 1990s.
25.
His face said 24.
It was the 24th, yeah.
Oh, 24.
Okay. So I was thinking, you know, what is it that motivates you? What motivates everyone in the room? What motivated you to get out of bed this morning and to come over here?
Common cause.
What do you know? What do you need, and what are you looking for? And I want to talk about that a little bit in common cause. So if it's common cause, what is our cause? In other words, do we have a mission?
Well, yeah.
What's our mission?
Do you want to just, are we just?
Oh yeah.
Our mission is, on the one hand, you have religion, and you see religion all over the state, all over the country. And why isn't there equal play? Isn't there some place you can go and have, say, a historical conversation about the Greeks, or the Romans, or Alexander Hamilton, or George Bush, or whomever? Because there is no balance. And that's what really, why I'm here, is because there is no balance. You go to a church, and you're overpowered with the religiosity of the country.
You don't have to go to church to do it.
Right,
That's right.
right.
Unfortunately, every time you have a football game or something happens, everybody wants to pray.
Well, you did touch on one thing, I think, when you said, and you go and you have a discussion, you touched on the social element. You don't just come here because you have a common cause. You come here because you want to socialize and be supported by people who are
Right.
thinking,
Like-minded, yes.
like-minded.
Right.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of different atheist organizations,
Sure.
but what drove me here was the whole concept of trying to challenge the traditional notion of what a church is. And I think that's what this group really brings to it, is a sense of, you know, what is church really? And is it possible to have a church that isn't centered around a concept of a supernatural plane? And I think this group really, you know, and I'm fairly much of a newcomer to this group compared to 24 years of being able to continue this. And it just speaks to it speaks to how robust it can be if you have a community. And I've asked Tim, who's the pastor, you know, why do you call it a church instead, you know, maybe just a congregation or something like that? He sees, because we want to shift the paradigm. We want people to really think about what is church bringing to people, and are atheists able to access that part of their brains that is activated by religion? Maybe it's not necessary to do that, but in some ways, like, I'm looking for that, you know, part of the brain that has a God in it, or wants a God in it, or looking for that kind of fulfillment, with the understanding that there is no God, there is no supernatural plane, and so somehow it has to come from within yourself. But that's why I like it here.
Anybody else?
This God factor, I don't know, maybe it's not important, but it was important to me. It came up around 20,000 years ago. And it was primarily a control situation. And of course, that's been
Still
recognized.
is.
Pardon me? Yes,
Still
it
is.
is.
Well, right.
I'm going to say, I was just going to say, Constantine decided that that was great. And so did Charlemagne. And they both ideally figured out that control was easier through religion than through the government. And that's why they combined the both.
You know, I think I learned more about religion in a religion class I had in my sophomore year in college. And the professor was an Episcopalian, an Anglican priest, and he had gotten most of his education and training at one of the colleges at Oxford University in England. So he was certainly well educated. And he taught us that religion is essentially an etiological effort. Religion is an etiological effort on the part of man or humans. How many of you know what etiology means?
Could you give us?
Yeah, it was explained once here, but I forgot. It was explained once at one of these meetings, but I forgot it.
Yeah.
Causation, isn't it?
Etiology is, in religion anyway, etiology is the attempt on the part of what they would call the primitive creature. In other words, we're balancing out here, primitive on one hand versus sophisticated on the other. So religion is the attempt on the part of the primitive creature to try to make sense out of, understand, and explain things that are really beyond his or her capacity to do so. So religion is an etiological effort. it's where you grapple with the major issues of your own life and of life and society in general. And you kind of make sense out of them, understand them, explain them, all that sort of thing. So I consider myself to be a very religious person. I have these, I have, you know, needs and wants and things that I'm interested in. I want to explore the major issues of life. In other words, where did I come from? Where do we come from? Why are we here? Does what we do or what we don't do make any difference in life? Where are we headed? Where are we supposed to be going? How do we find meaning and value in life? Well, I want to do all of those things, and I want a community to help me do that. And that goes back to what you were saying. So I thought about what draws me here, what draws me to the North Texas Church of Freethought. Two things. Number one, it's being able to do what I was just talking about, explore the major issues of life and society and try to make sense out of it all. And then number two, do it in and with a community of people. So, in other words, in church, I'm looking for a community of like-minded and like-thinking individuals who want to be about the ideological effort.
That's the definition.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that's the definition, church,
Yeah.
and religion, like-minded people.
And my question to you all is, are we doing that here? Are we emphasizing the development of community among us? And are we really engaged in an ideological enterprise? And, you know, the answer.
See, that brings you back to my point. Why aren't thousands of people interested in causation? What are our ultimate, where did we come from? What is our purpose? Why aren't thousands of people, not tens of people at a time? I mean, that's what surprises me. Why aren't more people engaged in etiological concepts? Where do we come from? What is our purpose, etc.?
I think,
Well, they are, but
I think we are.
they're short-circuiting by saying God's part of the equation.
Or they keep it
But
to
it isn't
themselves.
that they aren't interested in it.
Or they,
They're hedging their bet, really. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are hedging their bet, that even are religious. They go to church every week and they go through these Methodist situations in order to, they hope, in case there is a God, to arrive at that decision. But if there isn't a God, at least they're making an effort.
And that
I mean-
Pascal's wager?
Pardon me?
Pascal's wager?
Mhm.
Right?
Pascal's wager?
Yeah,
What
I
is
think
that?
that's what he's describing.
What is that?
Basically that.
Oh, I think there was some comedian that said, you know, if there is a
George
God,
Carlin?
yeah, then I'm gonna go, I'll get to heaven or hell and say, oops,
Sounds like
I was wrong. But, I mean, I think we could do more. I mean, it's, I don't know, to me, it seems like, I guess I have a hopeful, well, I have some hope for humanity in that, I think as time has gone on and we know more in science, that there's actually been some improvement, there's some backpedaling or backsliding, but in general, if you follow the history of science and understanding, you were talking about the Egyptians having 70 different gods. And so what did they have? The sun god, wind god, and rain god, whatever. And as science proceeded, and you realize, or it becomes irrefutable, that those phenomena don't have a supernatural, they don't have a supernatural basis. And so it becomes harder and harder to justify that. And so now we've come to a point where, well, the only thing we can justify to ourselves or that most people are able to justify themselves is something which you can't disprove. I mean, it exists, but you can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't sense it whatsoever. It's simply invisible, and yet it's all powerful. And so I think that's the only thing that people can actually still cling to, because science can't touch it. But maybe at some point, we'll go even farther than that and be able to see that it's all a manifestation of the physical, mental, capacity that every human has, and the need that people have to belong, to find meaning, to love, and to see, some goodness and morality, that someday more people will identify that as coming from the individual human mind, and will become the greatest thing ever, that each one of us is a god, if you want to use the traditional term, that each one of us is a god unto ourselves. And that becomes very powerful, because then the individual becomes sovereign over their own existence.
Yeah, but one of the reasons I think that most of the theistic religions have survived, despite all the advances in science and given explanations for natural things, is that the notion is more powerful than reason. And the theistic explanation appeals to people's emotion and not to their reason, and it gives them an easy way out. It allows them to be intellectually lazy. It's just like, oh, somebody's going to give me an easy answer that I can latch onto. And then once they've latched onto it, in most religions, it's don't question it, right?
Well, yeah.
Oh, they're happy with not
The
questioning.
deal is, people would rather die than think.
Yeah.
They don't like to think.
But there are a lot of very intelligent people who.
Oh, there are, but they're not.
Yeah. Back in the late 1960s, matter of fact, it was in 1967, a sociologist, whose first name I can't remember, his last name was Kelly, I do remember that, wrote what was a blockbuster book at that time called Why Conservative Churches Are Growing. Why conservative churches are growing. And what he found was this: first of all, people do not want to think. In our day and time, we hear a lot about the importance of critical thinking and of having critical skills. But I would say that most people don't like to be involved in critical thinking, and don't have, a critical skill. In white conservative churches, really, said people want to be told what to do. They want an easy, simple paradigm. In other words, give me 4 or 5 rules of life to tell me that, this is the way it is. These things are authoritative. You follow these 4 or 5 things, and bingo, you have a good life. And that's what, most people want. I had a fair amount of difficulty when I was a full-time Episcopal priest, because I very much believed in critical thinking and was asking questions and trying to get all of you all in the congregation to ask questions and to think about things. And I remember one woman came up to me one Sunday morning after church, and she said, "Will Smith, you give me a headache." You give me a headache. You try to force me to think. And then in another congregation, several years later, some people made the remark, he, meaning me, he tries just to keep things stirred up all the time. He just tries to keep us in a frenzy. And I was there when they said said that. And another guy got up and said, no, you're wrong. He's not trying to get us stirred up. He's trying to get us to think. And I said, bingo. Bingo. You know,
You realize though, by doing that, you're going to hell.
But you know, it'll probably be comfortable, warmer than it is outside today. You know?
Well, there's maybe also another element there, I think. This excuse, not excuse, but I can explain. This righteousness that it gives you.
Yeah.
You know, this, I have an advantage of, some people, you know, adopt this as, I'm right, you're wrong, and that makes me feel, you know, good about
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
you know. It's not everybody, but I think that there's probably a big element of that, of righteousness, you know.
I would agree with you. I would agree with that.
I mean-
I don't understand how an engineer can believe in God. I mean, they have to think so deeply and be able to be skilled in creating a bridge. You can't just believe that a bridge is gonna work.
Well,
You
but
have to understand.
I don't know if you've heard of the concept of compartmentalization, you know, is that in people's minds, they are able to compartmentalize. That these things are off limits, and here's where I get to think, but this is where I don't get to think,
Yeah,
you know? And the brain is very successful at
And some
that.
people want to have a compartment, an area in their life where they don't have to think. They think at work, they think in lots of other places and arenas, but they like having one place where they don't have to think, and maybe where someone will tell them what to do, how to do it, and what's right and what's wrong. And like you said, if they buy into that, if they buy into what they think and into their methodology of doing things, they feel good about themselves. I'm righteous, like you said. I'm righteous, and this is the way things are. This is the way things are
Well,
supposed to be.
especially if you're a member of a 10,000 member church.
Yeah.
It must be right. Look at all these
Right.
people here
They
attending
can't all be
church.
wrong. Yeah.
There's always an element of unknown, including what that person means by God is not anybody, even that person themselves is probably largely unknown, much less somebody else trying to define what's in their head.
Here in Texas, we have three top 5 physical churches in America. Two of them are in Houston, and one in Dallas. don't think ancient faith is helping me or any other people much with life at all. I said, what I want is modern faith. That's what I think, we need to be doing in church. And I think that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to have, a modern faith, a modern approach to things. And a modern approach.
Should we get the moment of
Yeah.
silence? Then we'll talk about the moment of silence.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about moderate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Speaking of science, does everybody know that there's a duplicate of the Pantheon in Memphis? Pardon?
it's a national.
Nashville. Yeah, I apologize, you're right, in Nashville.
The Pantheon?
Yeah.
The Parthenon.
Parthenon.
Oh, the Parthenon.
Oh,
Okay.
you're right, and I haven't got some facts right. Yeah, Parthenon. The thing was engineered around the statue. And most people don't know that. First, they built the foundation and they put the statue there. And then they put a building around it. And the one in Greece, of course, is somewhat suffering, but the one in Nashville is really nice. So if you get a chance, you might run by and see it. It's worth going to.
The church,
I was reading about the Parthenon, and one of the facts is, there are no straight lines.
Yeah.
It's
That's right.
very harmonious, it looks beautiful,
Yeah.
but there really are not, they're
Yeah.
curved lines.
Well, and the
And that's
pillar,
what looks
yeah,
good.
the pillars are not straight up.
They're curved, yeah.
Wow. Science?
yeah, who's gonna do the moment of silence, not me.
What's it about, Kit?
The moment.
Grapes.
Grapes, okay.
Yeah.
Grapes.
Wine?
Wine making, that's
Oh, winemaking.
Winemaking.
Okay.
Did you bring the video, or I don't know who was bringing the video?
Did I do what?
Video.
No, I didn't, I don't.
Oh, you mean we might not see it?
Well,
We're having trouble, or did,
I'm not sure where it is on this.
You got the screensaver on, just move the mouse.
oh,
See if it says grape. Great, great presentation.
is it a file? Grapes. Microwaving grapes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just
it.
read about that this morning.
We'll see.
Almost 8 years ago,
Probably not.
when this channel was fresh and before I had gray hairs in my beard, in fact, before I had a beard, I made a video showing that if you take a grape and cut it almost completely in half and put it in the microwave, you can make some plasma. Oh, the other one's physics. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's still going. But the explanation we had in that video was lacking. This was me and my friend Dr. Stephen Bosey, a fellow physicist. So you should look forward to that on another episode of Veritasium. To be honest, nobody really knew how this effect worked. That is, until now. As of the publication of this video, 3 scientists have published an explanation in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. They studied this effect with high-speed cameras, thermal cameras, electromagnetic modeling, and they came up with an explanation that I think is pretty satisfying, and it extends way beyond just microwave grade plasma. So naturally, I called up these scientists. Yeah, actually saw your video before.
Don, can you turn up the volume?
Great project. Oh, really? Yeah, so I was like already kind of interested in doing the project. The scientists showed you don't even need to use a grape. You can get the same effect with hydrogel water beads. These are those tiny polymer beads which, when you soak in water, they increase in volume like 100 times. To understand how microwaving a grape gives you plasma, we first need to know a few things. Like a typical household microwave uses a frequency of electromagnetic radiation at about 2.45 gigahertz. That means that the wavelength of microwaves inside the oven is about 12 centimeters long. Now, if you've ever studied electromagnetic radiation, you might have the intuition that interesting centimeters in air, but the like index of refraction of grape material must be close to like 1.33 or something, right? Like,
So at physical wavelengths it is a lot lower, but in the microwave machine, the index of refraction is like almost 10. So you have a much higher refraction.
so microwaves are traveling, you know, like 10 times slower through the grape than they are through air.
Yes.
And that means that the wavelength is a tenth its size through air. So instead of 12 centimeters, it's about 1.2 centimeters, right about the size of a grape. Now, if you take a single grape and place it inside the microwave, don't cut it in half, what you find is that the microwaves actually become trapped inside the grape. And that's because of its high refractive index and its size.
But it turns out that when you have like a ball where approximately the diameter is roughly the same wavelength of the microwave in the material, it turns out that it can be trapped in there. So that the interactions can it's kind of like bounces in the borders of the ball, they can't get out.
Is it like total internal reflection?
Yes, pretty much.
Wow, that's interesting. I hadn't thought of it that way. So the microwaves become trapped inside the grape, and they actually form these resonant modes. You can think of them as standing waves, just ways in which the electromagnetic fields like to oscillate inside a grape, such that the maximum electromagnetic field is actually in the center of the grape.
When you put it in the microwave, you see that it heats up not from the outside in, like you expect, version from some microwave, but rather from the inside out.
If you add a second grape to the microwave, you see that the same thing happens. The microwaves get trapped in the second grape too, and the amplitude is highest in the very center of the grape, so the heating occurs most of all there. But if you move these two grapes close together, so they're closer than, say, a wavelength, well, then you can start to get interactions between the electromagnetic fields in the one grape and in the other. And in fact, if you get the grapes touching, then the greatest electromagnetic field actually occurs at that contact point between the two grapes. And so that is where you're going to get the greatest oscillating electromagnetic fields, and that is where those grapes are going to get hottest. It's also interesting that you don't need to cut the grapes in half. Two grapes placed side by side will make this effect work, as long as they stay in contact.
So that's why in a lot of the videos you see there's a watch glass. So the reason the watch glass is to keep the grapes together.
Now with the very strong electromagnetic fields at the intersection of the two grapes, what you can get is some sparks, some breakdown of air. That is, the electric fields are strong enough that they ionize the air, creating those sparks, and that is what leads to the plasma. It creates these ions, which can then receive more energy from the microwaves. You can see it here pulsing at 120 hertz. That's twice the 60 hertz frequency of mains power, which reflects the fact that the amplitude of the microwaves is pulsing twice every cycle. And what is that plasma made of? Well, the scientists looked at the spectrum of the plasma from a grape, and they found that there's a strong potassium emission line and also a sodium emission line. So it seems like those ions must be pretty common in the grape, and when the plasma gets formed, it's those ions which are sprayed up into the air, and that is what we're seeing. Now, the size of the grapes is
Did you hear that?
which is something I, of course,
What do you
suspect,
say?
because you don't see this happening with too many
can't
other
hear.
squishy fruits. But
We can't
you don't
hear.
have to get
Just
to
tell
the
us
exact
what did he,
rates of
well, I
this.
can barely hear.
This is because water absorbs microwaves.
The guy was looking at the effect, and he goes, "Wow, who needs drugs?"
Oh,
Do you want to try to,
It's already,
do the mic?
it's almost over, so it's too late.
Oh, well.
It's never too late.
I probably could have
So
put
the
the last
scientists did
sentence.
some modeling of this, and if you had a material inside the grape that did not absorb microwaves, then what you would see is at certain particular sizes you get extreme amplification of the electromagnetic fields. It's basically one size that you have to hit to get the amplification. But made of an absorbent material like water, this broadens out the peaks, so you get less amplification of the field, but over a broader range of sizes. This is why a lot of grapes work, even if the sizes vary. So, in terms of like applications of this
So you put a
research,
cup over the
what do you
grape.
think? I mean, obviously, people like me are excited.
What?
So you don't just do the grapes you put a plastic cup over.
It looked like before there wasn't a plastic cup over
Right,
it.
at one time there was, and then one time there wasn't.
Right.
It was a cup.
It looked like you could see it better when you had the cup.
Yeah, he was trapping the plasma with the cup.
Right, that's why, and it
I
was
was trapping
floating
the
up
plasma
above.
with the
Yeah.
cup, so that way you could, it was actually more centered, or.
Yeah, well, so it was
Brighter.
visible to the camera, he could hold it there.
Because I'm gonna do this at home.
There's still,
I'm curious.
it shows there's still 8 minutes left.
Oh, it is?
Do you, if you
No,
want,
that's,
I'm gonna try to put
that's
the
the total
microphone.
length, I think. I think that's the,
No, I don't think that's 650.
oh, it says
Oh,
6.
maybe you're right.
Go ahead.
So we're really about out of time anyway.
Because this is not true. But beyond that, what do you think in terms of applications? They may be fabricating microchip right now. Well, it's smaller is the coverage. How to make these very small features. This phenomenon shows that two spheres of the right size and refractive index can focus electromagnetic energy down to a tiny spot in between them. In this case, down to around a millimeter from radiation with a 12-centimeter wavelength. If similar focusing could be achieved with light, it would provide a significant improvement over current lithography techniques. So if we could somehow harness this lithography to be able to make things very small, you could actually use light to make really small features. You could do like 2 nanometer mark spot about 2 nanometers resolution. Would help continue this like Moore's law. Yes, if we can continue Moore's law, like putting small things in a single chip. So I'm glad I was finally able to explain how this effect works. Did you enjoy it? Do you feel like you get it? Any questions? Put them in the comments below. Also, I really like this video that I made. This is my previous video, and so if you haven't seen it, go check it out. I'll also put a link to the original great video, which is maybe not that good because it was 8 years ago. But anyway, thanks for watching.
Plasma's hot, isn't it? Could this be dangerous?
Pretty hot.
What? Plasma's hot, isn't it? Could
Very
this be
hot.
very dangerous in
Yeah.
the right circumstances?
Sure.
Cause your vessel blow up or something?
Yeah, but you could see that it cools very fast in the microwave, so it's not gonna hurt the microwave.
Well, not the oven itself, but the dangers in it or.
Well, you saw it was so brief that it didn't even melt the plastic cup that was over it.
Folks, our time is up. Thank everybody for coming out today, and for those of you that are new and haven't been here before, or been here once or twice, we're glad you're here, and we hope that you'll come back and visit with us on the first Sunday again here soon, any
So 2 things. One is, do we have this room for until 12?
I don't know.
I think so, yes.
And in case people wanted to talk.
Yes.
And then the second thing is that a number of us meet for lunch after this. And I don't know,
She says, let every member of the divine assembly enjoy the net. meal, but let Enlil eat no sacrifice which mortals prepare, since he killed them. He drowned them. He drowned the ones who feed us. And so when Enlil arrives, he's furious. He sees that there are some mortals who have escaped and they weren't supposed to. And so, like now, you know, the buck is passed. And so Ventura said, oh, it was Inky's fault. And Inky said, no, it wasn't my fault. You know, it was the Reed Hut's fault. You know, blame it on the devil. So instead of a flood to control the population, in the future, why don't you send a lion, a wolf, a plague, lay upon the sinner his sin, lay upon the transgressor his transgression. It was not I that revealed the secret of the gods, Inky said. The wise man learned it in a dream, sleeping in the Reed hut. Here I have Ea. Ea